definitely go to your local bookstore, and if they don't have a copy, they will be able to order it for you, and it's also available on Amazon.com. And my website is wildgratitude.com.
Wonderful. Chris, you want to take us out of the first hour?
Yes, you're listening to D.T.M. Wicked Radio. I am Chris George. He is Victor the Voice Furman. Our guest is Stacey Couch. We are talking about shamanism and hawks and whatnot. And Victor, my sinuses are getting to me, and I'm not thinking straight. So that's the end of the first hour, people.
We'll be back after this. We'll be back after this short break. That is, if Denny is still with us. And if he is, we're going to take a short break. And if not, we'll just continue. That's all. It's all in the nature of the energy.
All right, well, the nature of this energy has to run to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Well, let's see. Can you still hear me in the chat room? Because if you can, that means that we're not on break, and we'll just continue with this interview. Aha, we're on break. Stacey, we have about 8 minutes if you'd like to get a beverage or whatever you need to do.
Okay, great. I'm actually going to put a log in the fireplace.
Oh, please don't do that to me. You're making me so envious. You're right, obviously in Colorado somewhere?
Yeah, up in the mountains.
Oh, I love the Rockies. I really love the Rockies.
I do, too. I feel really lucky to be here. It so helps fuel all of the work that I do to be able to live in such a beautiful place.
I know. I'm a New Yorker, born and bred, and I've been my whole life, other than being 6 years in the Air Force. And during that time, I was out in the Rockies and stationed in Denver, but then spent a lot of time in the Rockies and just loved it. And in my business world and life, I've gone to conferences out in Billings, Montana, and then ventured out from Billings to the points west and south, and just beautiful out there.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a moment to run to the rest
You
of you?
certainly do.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Well, if you can still hear me in the chat room, I guess I'm going to have to fill because we don't have music or commercials or breaks or whatever it is that we normally have during the 8-minute time. So I've got about 6 minutes, so I'm going to start telling you limericks. There was an old lady from Wheeling who had a peculiar feeling. She lied on her back, distended her crack, and peed all over the ceiling. We're still live, Chris. I decided I'm going to tell limericks anyway.
Oh, God. Where did Denny go?
I think Denny was ill and he went to sleep. Okay. Another limerick, okay. There was an old man. She says, fill it in, Victor. Okay, I'm going to fill it in. Here we go. There was an old man, wait a second, from Peru, who fell asleep while in a canoe. While dreaming of Venus, he played with his penis and woke up with a handful of goo.
Oh, my God, Victor. You're out of control.
Just trying to fill it.
Came back from Salem. You're out of control.
I was bewitched. What can I tell you?
Our guest is going to leave us.
No, she's putting a log on the fire and enjoying herself. So.
I'm right here too.
Oh, you heard our dirty limericks that we're filling in with. Okay, well, it's okay. You know what? It's all part of life, ladies and gentlemen. It's all done. It's not mean spirited. It's done. What's it? It's all right. No. That we will not do. Chuck, we do not do political humor on any of our shows. That we leave for others. We do not need political humor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we get in trouble with that stuff.
No, right? Not even trouble. It's just something that I'm not called to do at all.
Yeah, me neither. So
there's enough in life to talk about without having to talk politics, and I think there's enough people to talk politics that we don't have to contribute to that conversation.
Isn't that a fact?
So you know what? It's 11:05. I think the break is over. Why don't we go ahead and continue with the interview with our wonderful guest, Stacey L.L. Couch, author of the new book, Gracious Wild, A Shamanic Journey with Hawks.
Well, before we do that, Victor, I know this is the second site, but I really enjoyed your church last night.
Thank you.
Would you like to do it again for our listeners on this show?
Okay, for those of you who are regular listeners, you know that there's a feature in the second hour of the Second Sight show that Chris and I do every Thursday from 8 to 10. And it's called The Church of Second Sight. And normally it's a rant that Chris does about something that's been upsetting to him. And it's usually very funny because when Chris does a rant, he's hysterical. But last night I actually did The Church of Second Sight about something that, unfortunately, it's a sad observation of the state of current affairs today. And basically what I talked about was that people, funny, at the beginning of the show, we're talking about giving advice and talking about giving a speech to a graduating class, and I talked about owning your life and taking personal responsibility. And I have an example of a day in which other people not taking their responsibility seriously and owning their work ended up costing me, and for those who don't know, I have a day job. I'm in the industrial supply business, and cost me and some customers a lot of hours. So yesterday morning, I was supposed to take a truck out with some equipment for a special customer on a long drive down from Queens, New York, down to Hamilton, New Jersey, which is about a 2-hour drive without traffic and could be much longer with traffic. And that truck had to have been loaded the night before, and everyone was instructed as to what had to be done. I arrived at my office yesterday morning at 6:20, ready to get into the truck and drive at 6:30, and the things that were supposed to be loaded were not loaded. So that was the first disappointment. It took an extra hour and 20 minutes, cost me an extra 3 hours in getting that project accomplished. Later on during the course of the day, I get a phone call from a customer that something that was supposed to have been shipped to them never arrived. I check with our people and find out that it was addressed to the wrong address. And if someone had taken an extra minute to just make sure that the address was correct, that wouldn't have happened. Now, people make mistakes. We're all human. We're not perfect. I've certainly made mistakes. But these are the kind of things that are avoidable. In any event, my day is extended and long, and I was supposed to go see my physician yesterday because I needed to get, I have psoriasis, and I get an injection every 3 months of a special drug. And it's been life-changing for me. It actually has taken away the psoriasis completely. It has no ill effects with me, and I have to get the shot every 3 months. So normally have to order this drug a week and a half to 2 weeks in advance from a special pharmacy to be shipped to the doctor's office so that I can go there and have the doctor inject me. I placed a call for that on April 14th, and it was supposed to ship out April 14th for arrival at the doctor's office at April 15th so that I could go there yesterday, a week later, and get my shot. I get to the doctor's office, and the physician's assistant, who normally greets me and lets me know what's going on, says, "Why are you here?" I said, "Because I'm here for my shot." She said, "We never got any." So we called the pharmacy, and lo and behold, they sent it to the wrong pharmacist and the wrong doctor and the wrong address, and never had the courtesy to pick up the phone and call me or call my doctor and say, "We messed up. We messed up your shipment. Postpone your appointment or change your appointment. We'll get this shipment out." They never did that. So that was another thing. And then after that, I went and I needed to pick up something to eat before the show. It was running late. It was like 20 after 7. And we had to be ready for 8 o'clock for the show. And I knew that I'd have to pick something up if I wanted to eat something prior to the show. And I went to a local fast food restaurant. I'm not going to mention the name. But let's put it this way. They're supposed to be Louisiana fast. And quite frankly, they're never Louisiana fast. In fact, they're very slow. And I went in, and they had this little flyer on the wall, not flyer, but an electronic digital billboard that was flashing, and it said special combo surf and turf, which was pieces of chicken and shrimp. And I pointed to it, and I said to the young lady behind the register, "That's what I'd like." She said, "Oh, that's been discontinued." I said, "Discontinued, then why is it on the billboard there?" She said, "I don't know, but it's discontinued." I said, "Okay, forget the special. I don't need the special. I'd just like to have the chicken and shrimp. I'll pay the full price for it." "We can't do that. It's been discontinued." I said, "Wait a minute. Do you have chicken?" She goes, "Yes." "Do you have shrimp?" She says, "Yes." I said, "Okay, put together chicken and shrimp." "I can't do that. It's been discontinued." I said, "Thank you very much." I turned around and I walked away.
Oh, God.
So this is about people taking ownership and taking responsibility and doing the right thing. And unfortunately, there seems to be a shortage of that. Now, maybe yesterday was an extreme example, but it's not something that I'm not encountering at least once a day, every day. So what I'm saying is, in my Church of Second Sight, which I'm repeating for the Church of the Paranormal Lounge tonight, folks, wake up, because if we don't wake up, there are others who will wake up for us. And that's my Church of Second Sight, or my Speaking of the Paranormal Lounge.
I like that. All right, Victor. That was very well said. And like I said last night, I do love the chicken from that place. But it's the best chicken ever. Anyway, but Victor didn't get to eat it, so it doesn't matter.
That's right.
So let's get on with the interview. All right. One of the last chapters, The Mouthpiece, tells the story of a badly injured hawk that brought you a somber message. Would you be willing to share that story and the message with the listeners?
Yeah, I'd be glad to do that. There was a lot of different animals that came through the Wildlife Rehab Center. We would sometimes get a dozen or more in a day that had been injured by various things, cats attacking them, or a car, being hit by a car, or getting trapped in somebody's house and injured that way, or lots of different things. And one particular day I came in, and my coworker, I was working there at the time as a veterinary technician, and my coworker asked me for help with a hawk. I was just actually coming to take care of Grasha, the red-tailed hawk, that day. But she said, do you have a second to help me handle this hawk that just came in? I said, sure, and I went and I looked, and it was in a cardboard box. The people who had picked it up and rescued it had done a beautiful job, cut nice little air holes in the box and put a towel in the bottom for the hawk. And she was standing there, clear as day. I wouldn't have thought anything was wrong with her on first look, but I was also peering in through the light and the holes, the peepholes, and she stared right back at me with her really intense eyes, and everything looked okay until I took a closer look through the shadows, and I saw that she was missing half of her beak.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
And, yeah, it was just gone. And how that hawk was still standing there, staring me in the eye with such a ferocity, was really unbelievable to me. And so we ended up taking her out of the box and doing a full exam, assessing what other injuries she had. She had a badly broken wing, and she had absolutely no flesh on her keel, which is their breastbone. So if you think about chickens, the chickens have all of that muscle there on their chest for flying, and all birds do. And so that's where the bulk of their flesh is. And so if you want to know how much what their body condition is, you feel along that breastbone, and she had no flesh along her whole chest. It was absolutely down to the bone. So how she was even standing there staring at us, still alive, was absolutely eerie to me. It was like seeing a zombie. And we ended up, unfortunately, having to put her down because there just was no option. I mean, there was no way to repair her bones in her wing that had been broken for so long, plus we had no idea what we would do for her beak. But the message stayed with me, or her visit stayed with me. It was like a visit from the other realm, because there was just no way she should have still been alive, especially staring at us and standing there. And also, too, she was exactly in the same plumage that Grasha, the red-tailed hawk, was. So she was changing, this injured hawk was changing out of her immature plumage, which is all brown, into her adult red-tail plumage with the red tail and the typical colors we're used to seeing. And she was partway through that change, and she was at the exact same stage of the change as Grasha was. She had the exact same number of red tail feathers as Grasha did. And that also really shook me to the core, because it was like, wow, there's a synchronicity right there, and what do I do with that? So I spent a number of days just sitting with it, and once again, waiting, what is the message here? And I had an intuition riding in the car one day when I had some time to think about it. The word came to me, mouthpiece. She's missing her mouthpiece. And so the first opportunity that I had, I went and I did a shamanic journey, and journeyed to the spirits and asked, what is the message here with this hawk that came and was missing her mouthpiece? And the message that they conveyed to me is that the animals no longer have a mouthpiece. They're no longer able to speak to us. And they were asking me to be a mouthpiece for them.